Have you ever gotten like a totally right answer from AI, but it just felt off?
Yeah.
Like the facts were all there, but the vibe was wrong.
Interesting.
Turns out that's not just you being picky.
Okay.
Researchers are finding that AI is developing like its own personality, its own vibe, and it's changing how we choose which tools to use.
Yeah, and what's fascinating is that we're moving beyond just evaluating AI based on accuracy.
Right.
For a long time, that's all we really focused on, especially with large language models, LLMs.
Yeah.
But as these models have become more sophisticated, we're starting to realize that how they communicate
Okay.
is just as important as what they communicate.
So today we're diving deep into some cutting-edge research.
Okay.
That's literally called VibeCheck.
VibeCheck.
It's like a personality test for AI,
Interesting.
helping us identify and measure these subtle qualities in LLMs.
And the really interesting thing is that these vibes are surprisingly nuanced.
Okay.
We're not just talking about whether an AI is friendly or formal. Researchers are finding AI that's great at using humor AI, that's incredibly detailed, and even AI that has a thing for markdown formatting.
Okay, so let's unpack this.
Yeah.
What exactly is a vibe in AI? How do you even measure something like that?
So think of it this way.
Okay.
A vibe is like an axis along which AI output can differ.
Okay.
Just like we might describe a person as being anywhere from serious to playful,
Yeah.
we can now identify similar qualities in AI.
Okay.
And to be useful, a vibe needs to meet 3 key criteria.
Great.
It has to be well-defined,
Okay.
meaning people generally agree on what it means.
Got it.
It has to be differentiating, meaning it actually helps us tell different AI models apart.
Okay.
And most importantly, it has to be user-aligned,
Okay.
meaning it predicts what humans actually prefer.
So it's not just some arbitrary label.
Right.
These vibes actually reflect real differences in how AI communicates
Exactly.
and how people respond to those differences.
And the researchers behind VibeCheck have developed a 3-stage process
Okay.
to identify and refine these vibes.
Right.
First, they use another LLM,
Okay.
like a super smart algorithm,
Uh-huh.
to analyze the outputs of different AIs and look for patterns.
So it's like AI analyzing AI.
Yeah,
That's pretty meta.
it is.
Okay.
Then comes vibe validation,
Vibe
where
validation.
they make sure the vibes they've discovered actually make sense and are useful.
Got it.
They want to make sure these vibes are consistent and actually help distinguish between different AIs.
So no, AI is giving off slightly grumpy on Tuesday's vibe.
Right.
Got it.
Okay.
What's the third stage?
The third stage is vibe iteration.
Vibe iteration.
And this is where they refine the vibes to get even more precise.
Okay.
They go back to the data and see if there are any instances where the vibes don't quite capture the full picture of an AI's behavior.
Got it.
It's like fine-tuning an instrument to get just the right sound.
It's like a constant process of discovery,
Yeah.
validation, and refinement.
Uh-huh.
Pretty scientific.
It is.
But did they actually put this vibe check to the test with real-world examples?
They did.
Okay.
They tested it out on a few different data sets.
Okay.
And one of the most interesting was the human ChatGPT comparison corpus.
Human ChatGPT comparison corpus.
Oh, wait, HC3.
HC3.
Think of it like a giant collection of conversations where humans and ChatGPT answered the same questions.
So they had this set of human-observed differences
Right.
between human and AI responses,
Yeah,
and they wanted to see if VibeCheck could pick up on those same differences.
exactly. And the results were pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Both humans and VibeCheck noticed that ChatGPT tends to use more formal language, give longer responses, and avoid personal anecdotes.
Wow. So VibeCheck actually aligned with human observations.
And they did.
But did they test it on anything besides ChatGPT?
Yes, they also analyzed data from a platform called Chatbot Arena.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of Chatbot Arena.
Yeah.
It's like a battle royale for chatbots.
Exactly, and this is where things get really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
When they compared Llama 3 to GPT-4 and Claude,
Okay.
they found that Llama 3 was perceived as being funnier, using more typographic emphasis and providing more examples.
Interesting.
And get this,
Okay.
these qualities actually correlated with higher human preference scores.
So even though Llama 3 might not always have the highest accuracy,
Right.
its vibes make it more popular.
Yeah.
Like that friend who's always cracking jokes.
Yeah.
They might not be the most reliable,
Mm-hmm.
but you always have a good time with them.
That's a great analogy.
Okay.
And it really highlights a key takeaway here.
What's that?
AI is moving beyond just being right.
Okay.
It's developing its own personality, its own vibe, which is crucial for user experience.
So beyond just comparing different AIs,
Right.
What can we actually do with this knowledge? How can we apply VibeCheck in the real world?
That's where things get really interesting. They explored how vibes play out in a variety of tasks.
Okay.
And one of the most fascinating is text summarization.
Text summarization.
They compared two models, Command X and TNLG V2,
Okay.
and found that even when achieving similar accuracy,
Yeah.
they had very different vibes in their summaries.
So the summaries were both factually correct,
Right.
but they felt different.
Yes. Command X often provides introductions, conclusions, and specific examples,
Okay.
which seem to align more closely with what humans generally prefer in a summary.
So it's like the difference between a dry academic summary
Right.
and a more engaging story-like one.
Exactly.
Okay, so knowing the vibes of these different summarization models could help me choose the one that best suits my needs.
Right.
What other applications did they look at?
One that's particularly interesting
Okay.
and maybe a bit humorous is math problem solving.
Math problem solving.
They found that GPT-4o and Llama 405B have very different vibes when explaining math problems.
Okay.
GPT-4o is very concise and uses formal mathematical notation, while Llama 405B can be overly detailed and conversational.
Like the difference between a professor giving a lecture
Right.
and a friend trying to explain it over coffee.
Precisely.
I can just imagine Llama 405B being like, okay, so imagine you have 5 apples.
Exactly.
And they actually included some specific examples in their research paper.
They did.
And they are hilarious.
Yes.
I'll have to check those out.
You should.
So text, summarization, math, problem solving, any other applications?
They also looked at image captioning,
Image caption.
comparing GPT-4V and Gemini 1.5 Flash.
Okay.
And again, they found some really interesting differences in vibes.
Okay.
GPT-4V tends to be more poetic and infer emotions from the image,
Good true.
while Gemini is more literal and descriptive.
So GPT-4V might say something like, the child gazes up at the sunset, a look of wonder in her eyes. While Gemini might say, a young girl stands on a beach facing west as the sun dips below the horizon.
That's a great illustration. It's really remarkable how these AI models can approach the same task with such different stylistic sensibilities.
It's making me think about all the different ways we use AI.
Yeah.
And how understanding these vibes could change how we choose and interact with these tools.
That's exactly the point.
Okay.
As AI evolves, it's becoming less about just functionality and more about creating a personalized experience.
And VibeCheck gives us a way to understand and even tailor those experiences.
It does.
This is already mind-blowing. We're just getting started.
I know.
In the next part, we're going to explore how these AI vibes connect to the different ways our brains work.
Oh, okay.
According to Jungian psychology.
It's a fascinating connection that could lead to AI tools that are perfectly tuned to your individual thinking style.
Amazing.
Welcome back. I'm excited to delve deeper into this connection.
Me too.
Between AI vibes and Jungian psychology.
Yeah, it's not every day we get to blend cutting-edge AI research with classic psychological theory. It's like we're bridging the gap between the digital and the human.
And that bridge is becoming increasingly important as AI becomes more integrated into our lives. But before we dive in, let's do a quick recap for our listeners who might not be familiar with Jungian psychology.
Right. Not everyone's a psychology nerd like me.
So Jungian psychology suggests that we all have preferred ways of perceiving and judging the world. These preferences are categorized into 4 cognitive functions. Thinking, feeling, sensing, and intuiting.
Okay, so we've got these 8 different ways of processing information.
Right.
But how does that tie back to AI vibes?
So the researchers behind VibeCheck suggest that just as these cognitive functions shape our individual preferences in the real world, they might also influence how we perceive and interact with AI.
So you're saying that my Jungian type might influence what kind of AI vibes I find appealing. Like if I'm a thinking type, I might prefer an AI that's super logical and analytical.
Imagine, for instance, someone who strongly favors the thinking function.
Okay.
They might gravitate towards AI that's analytical objective and presents information in a clear, structured manner.
Like those concise, formally notated math explanations we talked about earlier.
Precisely.
With GPT-4o.
On the other hand, someone who leans more toward the feeling function might prefer AI that's more empathetic, expressive, and considers the emotional nuances of a situation.
So they might vibe better with an AI that's more like Llama 3
Yeah.
with its humor and friendly tone. It's like choosing a study buddy based on their personality.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
You want someone who complements your learning style.
Right.
And here's where things get really exciting.
Okay.
If we can identify the vibes that align with different Jungian types,
Okay.
we could potentially develop AI systems that are tailored to individual cognitive preferences.
Whoa. Personalized AI matched to your personality type. That's next level stuff.
Imagine a world where your AI assistant understands not only your commands,
Okay.
but also adapts its communication style to the way you naturally think, process information.
It would be like having an AI that speaks your language both literally and figuratively.
Exactly.
That would be amazing. No more feeling like you're talking to a robot that just doesn't get you.
Right.
But how do we get from this fascinating research to that personalized AI future? What are the next steps?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is going to be accurately identifying and measuring those Jungian types.
Okay.
It's a complex system, and people don't always fit neatly into one category or another.
Plus, people can evolve and change over time.
Right.
What if my Jungian type shifts as I learn new things or have new experiences? Would the AI need to constantly reevaluate me?
That's another layer of complexity. We'd
Right.
need to develop AI systems that are dynamic
Okay.
and can adapt as our preferences change. It's a bit like a long-term relationship. You have to keep learning and growing together.
Okay, so more research is needed to figure out how to accurately identify
Right.
and adapt to individual Jungian types. But let's assume we overcome those challenges.
Okay.
What might this future of vibe-matched AI look like in practice?
Let's say you're using an AI for creative writing,
Okay.
and it knows that you're a strong, intuitive type.
Okay.
Someone who loves big picture ideas and abstract connections.
That's me all over.
Then the AI could focus on generating imaginative prompts, exploring unconventional storylines, and suggesting metaphorical language that aligns with your intuitive thinking style.
Okay.
It would be like having a brainstorming partner
Yeah,
who understands your unique creative process.
that sounds amazing. What about for something more practical, like planning a trip?
If you're someone who prefers sensing and focuses on concrete details,
Oh, yeah?
the AI could prioritize providing detailed itineraries, highlighting tangible experiences, and offering practical advice based on real-world data.
So instead of overwhelming me with a million possibilities,
Right.
it would focus on logistical efficiency
Yeah.
and making sure I have all the information I need
Yeah.
to feel comfortable and prepared. That would definitely reduce my pre-trip anxiety.
I can see that.
What about using AI to learn a new skill?
In that case, the AI could adapt its teaching style
Okay.
based on whether you favor thinking or feeling.
Okay.
Thinkers might appreciate a more structured, logical approach,
Uh-huh.
while feelers might benefit from a more personalized, emotionally engaging style.
It's like having a custom tutor who knows exactly how to motivate and guide you.
Exactly.
Okay, last scenario. What about using AI for something like online dating?
Ah, yes, the quest for love.
Right.
In that case, if the AI knows you're particularly introverted,
Oh.
it might suggest profiles of people who share similar interests,
Oh.
are good listeners, and appreciate thoughtful communication.
So no more being bombarded with messages from overly enthusiastic extroverts.
Right.
Maybe AI can finally solve my dating woes.
Well, I can't promise miracles,
Okay.
but at least the AI won't ghost you.
That's reassuring.
Good.
It sounds like the possibilities are truly endless.
They are.
When we start thinking about how AI can adapt to our individual needs and preferences.
But as with any powerful technology,
Right.
we need to be mindful of the ethical implications.
Oh, yeah?
Ensuring transparency and user control will be paramount.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that people understand how AI is adapting to them and that they have the ability to adjust or disable those adaptations.
Right. It's like those targeted ads that follow you around the internet.
Yeah.
They can be helpful, but they can also feel a little creepy if you think about how much personal data they're using.
Exactly.
We need to make sure AI is used to empower us, not manipulate us.
I agree.
Well, this has been an incredible deep dive so far. I'm already buzzing with ideas and possibilities.
And we're not done yet. In the final part of our deep dive,
Right.
we'll explore what it means for AI to have good vibes and how this research could shape the future of technology in a profound way.
Amazing.
Okay.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've been on this incredible journey
Yeah.
exploring AI vibes.
It's been really fun.
From how they're identified to how they connect to our own unique thinking styles.
It's a journey that's really challenging how we think about AI.
Yeah.
It's no longer just about building machines that can perform tasks.
Right.
It's about building machines that we can connect with, that understand us, that even inspire us.
We've talked about the science behind VibeCheck,
Yeah.
the potential applications, and the mind-blowing connection to Jungian psychology. Now let's get philosophical.
Okay.
What does it actually mean for AI to have good vibes?
Right.
Is it just about being polite and agreeable?
It's definitely more than that.
Right.
I think good AI vibes are about aligning with human values and aspirations. It's about technology that helps us become better versions of ourselves.
Can you give us an example?
Imagine an AI designed to help you learn a new language.
Okay.
It could have all the latest algorithms, a massive vocabulary database, and perfect grammar. But if it throws all that at you in a dry, robotic way, you're probably not going to be very motivated to learn.
It's like those boring textbooks we all had to suffer through in school.
Exactly.
No matter how important the information is.
Right.
If it's not presented in an engaging way, it just doesn't stick.
Now imagine that same language learning AI, but with good vibes. It personalizes the lessons to your interests, encourages you with positive reinforcement, and maybe even cracks a few jokes along the way. Suddenly, learning becomes fun and exciting, and you're much more likely to stick with it.
So good AI vibes are about more than just making us feel good in the moment. They're about empowering us to learn, grow, and create. They help us achieve our goals.
Precisely. It's about fostering a sense of collaboration between humans and AI, where technology enhances our abilities rather than replacing them.
And maybe even inspires us to be better versions of ourselves.
Right.
What if AI could sense when we're feeling discouraged? And use just the right blend of empathy and encouragement to help us get back on track.
That's a powerful idea. And it's definitely within the realm of possibility. As we understand more about AI vibes and their impact on us, we can design technology that not only meets our practical needs, but also nourishes our spirits.
What if our interactions with AI could actually help us develop our own emotional intelligence, our capacity for empathy and compassion? What if AI could become a mirror, reflecting back to us our best selves?
Those are big questions, and I don't think we have all the answers yet. But this research is pushing us to explore those questions and consider what this future of personalized, vibe-aligned technology could look like.
Until next time, keep those vibes high.